Hello everybody, thank you for joining us. Today we are going to sketch arms as seen from the back. So we're going to start off by putting down some framework. So a circle, so now when we're talking about arms, it's always, we have maintained, and we have quite a few videos on this topic, and I think that we maintain that drawing arms that are slightly more toned is always a handier exercise than drawing arms that are not as toned. And the reason for that is because we get to tap into more aspects of shading, of tones. So what we're doing today is we have a we'll draw a female arm and we'll just compare it to a male arm. So typical, like it's not there's no given when it comes to fitness and when it comes to adopting a certain volume, adopting a certain framework for the body, and of course depending on the regimen of the exercise that is put in, there are varying degrees. Like there are different degrees of what a person can achieve in terms of shape, in terms of muscle structure. So there's no given, but we are just going into a typical layout here. So this here is the frame that I have chosen to go with in terms of slightly, like reasonably toned female arm. And we'll be of course doing some light and shade aspects there. And then we have let's actually delve into this first, and we will get rid of the different, the pencil here needs a little bit of chiseling, so if you could just bear with me for a second. And so what we have is a light source. Let's do light sources like this. So light source coming in, and the light source in this case will be coming in this direction. So just so you know, we have that same kind of contrast going. So we're putting in some core details when it comes to delts, and right under the delt so right under the delt. So the delt is usually the raised, well, if a certain level of fitness is achieved, it is usually the raised area of the muscle structure. And what we have is some tones going right out, and according to the flow of the structure of the arm, these tones, they set in sharply and softly all through. So please do check out our other videos which have highlighted this aspect, very important aspect of anatomy, of general muscular framework. So right here we're just putting in the necessary tones. So since the light source is here, I think the tones will probably fade out right here. Probably be even like less intense at in this area, but we will leave it at that for now. And then of course some wrist structure there. And then again some contrasting sharp tones setting in against the light, and then maybe around certain muscle structure fading out. And then there's the immediate cast shadow right beside the forearm. Now we have to understand this, that let's actually put in, just to give it an additional balance, we'll also put in some tones here as well. So just squeeze that finger a little bit more. There's the knuckle for that particular finger, and we are not going to really go into the knuckles and the arms like that heavily. Just putting in some tones here so that it doesn't look too much out of place. So according to what I put here, we'll have to just intensify the tones here on this particular part of the arm. And again, please do Google images and we will see a lot of content out there that we can work with. And there we have one set of tonal values highlighting a female arm. So this lady packs just enough muscle to have the shadow set in this certain way. And we'll do the same here for we'll do the same for the gentleman here. So what we have is so the delt structure right here. Now again, even the delt structure that goes into the biceps, goes into the brachialis, into the forearms. It varies from individual to individual. And for instance, like I have put down delts like in this manner right here. Like there's that little line here that is a little bit straighter, but there are people who have delts which are just like round. And there we have a typical forearm going into the wrist and the hand. So let's check the settings again for a second. Okay, we're doing okay here. So we'll put in some necessary striations here as well into the delts. And just like we started here, we will start here. So the light source hitting from this side, and we have to pretty much go according to the same method, except that the framework, as I mentioned, typically seen on toned arm of a male person is a little different, a little bulkier, typically speaking. So right around the delt here we have some, as mentioned here, the tones begin setting it like right under the delt structure, and then they keep going into the remainder of the arm. So what we have is, we have another video in which we have outstretched the arm and highlighted the back of the arm, but that is a completely different tone. It would be as if a runner is going in a certain direction and the arm is like outstretched in the back, and there is some lighting that is like falling right onto it. So that is the particular aspect that is tapped into that particular video. But here we have the arm like in just a typical flexing. Like we could place something here like a weight probably, and it would work for this particular placement. So just putting in some tones again against the light source. So going into the forearm receptors right there, like that. That is the typical shape, like so. It's like that. So intertwined muscle that goes in this way. And there's another video in which we have featured the muscle groups that we can work with. Right here, we have to understand that although we are following the same set of rules of applying the tones, we have considerably more bulky apparatus. So sharper tone right there against the raised bicep. And now we can like add as many striations as we want as long as they're accurate. So stemming from the tricep, we have like muscle fibers like going all the way and meeting the brachialis structure here, and the bicep, the interior, the front bicep heads, which we have not really heavily highlighted, and we don't need to because we are not really drawing a completely like muscle bound person here. I mean, this is muscle bound enough, but like there's more like superheroic proportion muscle bound people, and you could check out our superhero videos as well. I'm pretty sure that we have tapped into some excessive muscular anatomy there in those videos. So right here the light source is like beginning to hit, so we are beginning to fade out the tones going in. But right here, the wrist structure, some of it just being highlighted quickly. Knuckles, we can safely put that area to bed, and with some stark tones right here, giving some semblance of light right there, and then going dark again. And then of course, depending on how much vein structure is visible, we will have some tones setting in sort of like that. Okay, so going back here, we can for sure make this tone structure a little more heavy. Just holding the paper there so it doesn't move too much. and then fading it out and meeting the other bits of the anatomy. Of course, sometimes we have like well-defined areas here too, but we'll just put in some modest, if we can call it that, tones here as well. So just making these smoother, and we are pretty much all set. Alright, there we are. So male arm, female arm, seen from that area with some tonal aspects that can really work. So please do try it out. We put out content every day, so please keep in touch. Do subscribe. Thank you for watching, and have yourself a wonderful day.